My presentation is called Anyone Can Participate, based on participatory culture. So, if we look at my summary of the readings, the first reading was about participatory culture and how it creates low barriers for artistic expression. So what this means is that it makes it really accessible for students to create content and create things that they can share with the world, with each other, in the classroom, at home. And then the reading dives into some of the inequities in access. We can't assume every student has access to a laptop, to internet, to knowing how to use these resources. And also it assumes reflection, that students are actively thinking about the media they consume, the media they create as well. And it also assumes ethical norms, so that students are, being digital citizens and using the internet the right way and ethically. The fan fiction reading talked about promoting culture, language, creativity, expression, and safety. So I really liked that it was centered around ELLs and how they were able to kind of form this digital connection with one another and share their experiences through, their love for anime and the stories that they would create, and how this formed a connection. For the videos, the first video was about how you can increase civic engagement with participatory culture. So I thought it was really interesting when Jenkins was talking about how a lot of the people on the Obama administration created content to campaign for him, how a lot of their experience came from making YouTube videos and skate clips like that. So how do we increase civic engagement by building those skills in kind of informal ways? And then the second video was about the importance of play and collaboration. It's kind of viewed a lot of the time that students playing isn't really learning, but it is. They're learning social behaviors. They're doing those peer-to-peer interactions that you can't really replicate as a teacher or an adult to a student. And she also talked about how it's important to create play in the digital world as well. And then the third video was about teaching students to use technology. We have access to all these resources, so maybe it's time to gear away from how rigid education's been, we have this test and this assignment and this homework, and start gearing into and leaning into what students are already doing at home. They're using social media, they're creating these videos online, they're doing things like that. So how can we kind of take advantage of that? So my reactions to the readings, with the participatory culture, it had me think back to some of my other education classes that I took at UCI, about how we talked about these digital playlists where you can create a Google Doc that students can then choose. If the task was to summarize a reading, students can choose, I can make a Canva, or I can make a bookmark, or a Zine, or just giving students the choice to create content that they want to create. And as well as digital citizenship, so teaching them how to use the internet and whatever resources they have responsibly. As for the fan fiction, my reaction to that was, it had me think a lot about creative writing exercises, as well as you as the teacher can differentiate how students take notes and how they write. I remember when I learned how to write, it was very you had to follow the Cornell note-taking strategy. But there's so many different ways you can summarize. You can do doodle notes, you can do creative writing like the fan fiction on Wattpad. There's just different ways you can express it now. And then my reaction to the videos. The first video, I thought it was really great idea to give students space to explore resources, show them a resource and then just give them time to kind of play around with it and figure it out, because that's really important. For the second video, I really liked the idea of, students doing things on the same Doc, Google Slides, that way they can collaborate in these digital spaces. And then for the third one, I thought it was really cool to have students put their information out into the world and share it with other classes and other students as well.